Hey everybody, good afternoon, evening. It's Sunday. It's 7 o'clock. Hope you all had a good week. Hope you had a better weekend because I'd rather have a better weekend than a better week. I guess, yeah. Well, yeah. I'd rather be home hanging with people I want to hang with than stuck doing the grind all the time. But hey, it is what it is. It's a great weekend here. Weather was nice. Hope weather was nice where you're at. Makes the weekend even better. Makes any time away from work even better when the weekend's weather is nice. Um, so yeah, there's that. Um, Halloween was last week. I hope you all had a good Halloween. I dressed up a little bit. Well, not a little bit. I dressed up like a priest because I think it's funny. Went trick or treating. Not as many people out trick or treating this year as there was in the past. Went out with my son. He had a good time, but like I said, noticeably less people out, and I really don't know why. A lot of less lights on at houses. That might be because of the economy. Maybe people can't afford the extra stuff. Not as many decorations out either. Again, probably because of the economy and everybody's kind of nervous about Tuesday. They don't know which direction everything's going to go in. So if people are holding back, I do sales for home renovations and stuff, and sales have really been pretty crappy the last couple of weeks, couple of months. I think it's all because everybody's really nervous about Tuesday. Like I said, they don't know which way things are going to go. Excuse me. They're not sure what's going to happen. So people are kind of banking, holding back. And I don't blame them. I am too. I don't think at this time I feel comfortable spending over $2,000 on home renovations. Who knows? I mean, hopefully everything Tuesday will turn out the way it should. Trump will get elected. Things will start getting better and people will start to relax and start to breathe again. But we won't know till what? Now that you can vote till what? 4 months after the election or some crap like that. Now we won't know for a couple of weeks probably, or another week after the election, know who seriously won, which is ridiculous. I remember when I was younger, when people voted in elections, you would know that evening, or at least have a very good idea that evening who won. And I never saw a problem with that. It worked for decades, but now apparently it doesn't. You got to spend weeks counting. I don't know. It's all ridiculous. But yeah, I think that's why a lot of people are holding back. And I really don't believe them. I mean, I really don't blame them. It's kind of stressful now. Really stressful. But yeah, Tuesday is election day. So make sure you get out and vote. Bring people with you. If you can bring 30 people with you, bring 30 people with you. Bring as many people as you can so we know we got people sharing or not sharing, voicing their opinion and making the right choice. This is a very, very important election. We have to course correct. It's been crazy for the last 4 years. We have gone downhill. And I know if you listen to liberals and Democrats, they're going to spew to you, oh, it's the best economy ever, and everything is great, and everything is awesome. It's not. All you got to do is go grocery shopping. Go try to fill your car up. I mean, I have some things here I'll go over here in a little bit, but things aren't great. Things aren't the best they've ever been. And you don't have to be an economist to know that. Like I said, go buy groceries. Tell me how great things are going. I remember when I spent $200 on groceries 3-4 years ago, it was a cart full. Now I do that and I get like 4 or 5 bags and I can bring them all in at one time. But yeah, the economy is great. It's awesome. It's never been stronger. Whatever. I don't buy into that. I don't at all. And it's scary to think what could be if things go south on Tuesday. It really, really is. And I hope everybody's keeping that in mind because it can go very bad. It can get worse than we've ever seen. And I think it might if we don't vote correctly. Sorry, I'm looking at something on Rumble. I apologize. But yeah, let's get into this. So the first thing I want to talk about is something near and dear to my heart. And and I try to keep my personal life personal and don't really share much on here. And it's not because I don't trust people who watch this. It's just I understand there are idiots out there, and we'll just leave it at that. I know there's idiots out there, so I don't put much of my personal life out there. But what I want to talk to you is very near and dear to my heart. There's a person that I am very close to that is a relative that suffers from autism, nonverbal, completely autistic, I guess, as you could say. That doesn't speak, and when he does, is just words. Great kid. So this is a very important subject to me. I try to stay abreast of it and figure out what's going on in the trends and the studies. Read an article, and it says autism diagnosis surge among kids and adults. So there's a surge. The number of American children and adults diagnosed with autism increased 175% in the last 10 years. 175%. According to new research, it shows an uptick. That's an uptick among certain groups appears to be driving the trend. So it's an uptick. It's not an increase. I mean, I hate the media, the way they use words to try to downplay what's important. And then what's not important, they blow up like football. Taylor Swift at a football game. They make this like the most important thing going on in the damn world. And 175% uptick or increase in autism diagnosis is an uptick. Just an uptick, a hiccup, statistical anomaly, not a big deal. The study published this week in the journal JAMA Network Open indicates that autism prevalence jumped from 2.3 per 1,000 people to 6.3 per 1,000 during that 10-year period they studied. The biggest change was seen in adults 26 to age 34, a group that saw an increase of 450% in autism diagnosis. There was also a significant growth in diagnosis of females versus male children. The highest prevalence of autism was seen among children ages 5 to 8. Kids from racial and ethnic minority groups saw bigger increases than white children. Why that matters, I don't care. I don't understand. It's a kid. Again, it's playing politics with children. That trend did not hold true in adults. There are many causes for autism, the research suggests. And before I get into this, I understand there are some people who believe that inoculations and vaccinations lead to autism. Other people don't. Other people believe it's genetic. And I'm not here to say what does or what doesn't cause it. I'm not that learned. I don't understand the genetic makeup of autism and how it starts. But I will say there probably is a connection with the increase of vaccines that are required for children. And I'm sure if we check that, there'll be a correlation with that and the rise of autistic diagnosis in children. I can believe that, but I'm not here to debate that. I'm not going to sit here and say this person's wrong and that person's wrong. I'm here just to bring you some information because, again, this is a subject that's very close to me. There are many causes for autism. Research suggests that autism spectrum disorder, ASD, develops from a combination of genetic influences and environmental influences, including social determinants. Again, do I think those are the main causes? No, I think there's a lot more to it. I think there's a lot more that they know, and they're just not going to come out and tell you everything because they don't want to cause a panic. But I do believe it's more than that. I think there's more to it than simply, not that genetics is a small issue. That's a big thing. That genetics, is everything. But I think there's more to it than genetics. And of course, I bring environmental influences and social determinants. So they're making it political. They're trying to say that, if the poorer that you are and where you live and how you're brought up causes autism. You know what? Again, I think it's a small issue. And again, I could be wrong. Again, I'm not a geneticist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I just know what I've seen with the family member, what little bit I've started to research. I think there's more to it than that. But that's just me. Again, I am not a geneticist. So don't say, well, Seth said that X, Y, and Z is the cause, so that has to be it. No, again, I'm just bringing information out, and you can take it for what it's worth, and you can look into it more or ignore me. I don't know. It's up to you. And yes, I did. I'm going to get into all the endorsements Camilla's getting from movie stars and all that crap. The 11th hour kind of stuff in a minute. I just wanted to get into that because I felt that the autism thing, like I said, is very important to me. It directly affects my family. So yeah, I think it was Lady Gaga. Yeah, Lady Gaga and J-Lo are going to come out and have come out and endorse Camilla. Isn't J-Lo involved in the P. Diddy investigation? Does she have something to do with those freak offs and stuff like that? So pretty much anything she has to say should be ignored, just flat out. You're possibly involved with sexual assaults and things like that. So it doesn't matter what you say. You're potentially trash and probably will be looking at jail time if the accusations are true. So I don't care. As a matter of fact, if you endorse somebody, I am purposely not going to support that person because of who she is. Not that I ever intended to support Kamala Harris to begin with, but now that just gives me more reason not to. J-Lo has endorsed her, so I will make sure that they don't get my support in any way, shape, or form. And then Lady Gaga is just Lady Gaga. I think she does things just to be noticed. She was in the movie The Joker, which was a bomb. So now she's trying to get some more recognition. So she's going to do whatever she can to remain important and relevant in the conversation. So again, she's another person whose endorsement I just don't care. As a matter of fact, I don't care if they were endorsing Trump. I don't care what musicians and actors, actresses, and sport athletes who they want to support. Just like I don't care who my neighbor is going to support. You're paid to act, so entertain me. If you're paid to sing, sing. If you're an athlete, catch your ball. But beyond that, shut up. Stop using your position to try to influence people who are dumb enough to think that you're better than them simply because you're an actor or an athlete. I don't care what you have to say. I don't. It never have. And I think endorsements are ridiculous. I think endorsements should be illegal because the low information voter, the unintelligent human being, that's all they're going to hear is, well, Lady Gaga endorsed Camilla, so she must be good because I like her music, so I should listen to her. There are morons out there that think that way and will act on these endorsements because they don't know any better. They're not intelligent. They don't think for themselves, and they believe everything they hear in the media. So that's why there's endorsements, because people understand there are people out there that's gospel. Their favorite movie star endorses somebody. That's all they need to know. I'm going to support him. Robert De Niro endorsed Camilla. I'm going to vote for her because I love his movies. Really, that's the depth they have. They have the depth of a sheet of paper. So I don't care about endorsements. They don't impress me. They don't sway me. And anybody I know that goes, well, hey, did you hear about so-and-so? I say, I don't care. I don't want to hear it. And you shouldn't care about it either. You have a brain. You have the ability to read. So use those two skills you have and look into these candidates for yourself. I don't care what someone living in Hollyweird says. Doesn't mean anything to me. Entertain me. Make me laugh, make me cry. Beyond that, I could care less about you. You don't pay my bills. You don't help me feed my family. You don't share my bed, and you don't share my last name. I don't care who you endorse. It doesn't mean anything to me. On either side. I'm not just saying that because these people are endorsing Kamala Harris. I'm saying it because endorsements are not even worth the airtime it takes to tell you about it. They're ridiculous. Please don't care about who's being endorsed. Don't even pay attention to that. If you're watching this now or later, you're intelligent, you know that. Share that with your family and friends. Tell them to ignore endorsements on either side and do their own diligence and look into the candidates for themselves. It's really that easy. Don't worry about what these people say. Stop being sheep. Exactly. I agree with that 100% on both sides. Like I always say, principle over party. If you vote your principles and your morals and your standards and all that, if you vote for people based on those, you will never make a bad vote. You will always be able to walk out of that ballot box with your head about the booth with your head held high. Don't compromise what you believe in. Don't compromise your morals or go, well, this time this is not that important. I'm going to vote for this person. Don't do that. That's how we got into the mess that we're in now, because people have done that. Because that's what we're at. People have sold their soul to a party and they vote party line. The perfect example of that is in Maryland. You have little Larry Lockdown Hogan, who is not not even remotely close to being Republican, not even remotely close to being a conservative, who has even said conservative ideals or values are outdated and ridiculous, who has said that he made Maryland gun laws strict and he hopes they get stricter, supports pro-life, supports making Roe versus Wade the law of the land. The man is not a Republican in any way, shape, or form. But guess what? There are Republicans out here who will argue with me until they're blue in their face that he is a Republican, that we need to support him because he's better than a Democrat. Forget that he believes everything a Democrat believes. Forget that he's going to support everything the Democrats want to support because he said he's not going to support Trump. Republicans shouldn't count on his vote, but they will tell you he's a Republican and we need to vote for him because he's better than the alternative. I don't know what more someone needs to tell you before you believe him. I mean, the man's told you he's not going to, Republicans should not count on his vote, but people will argue with you that he's a Republican. If you live in Maryland, don't vote for Hogan. Well, who should I vote for? Undervote. Don't vote for either. Or writing the Libertarian guy. Anything. Vote for the Libertarian guy. Anything. Do not vote for the weak-ass candidates the Maryland Grand Old Party puts in front of us, and they have for the last few years, simply because they have an art after their name. The last Republican candidate that had any balls and had leadership quality was Dan Cox, and the Republican Party of Maryland threw him under the bus because they didn't like him personally, because he wouldn't kiss their ass, because he wanted to do things the way they should. So they threw him under the bus. At the time, Governor Hogan supported Wes Moore, the Democrat nominee for governor, and campaigned for him. But Republicans in Maryland will still tell you that he's a Republican, Larry Hogan, and we need to support him. Let the Republican Party of Maryland burn to the ground. Let it burn. Stop supporting it with your money. Stop supporting it with your time. Let it die. It's time for it to go because we need to let it go and die so we can put people who are real Republicans and real conservatives on that party so they can build it back up to what it needs to be. Because what it is now is an impotent old man sitting in the corner reminiscing about the good old days and doing nothing to help the future. It has to go. It has to. That goes from the county or from the central committees at county level all the way to the state. Get rid of them all. They're all useless. They're weak. And they don't support anybody unless they kiss the ring. It's that simple. If that pisses them off when they listen, be pissed off. I don't care. I am so tired of losing in Maryland because we have weak, impotent, ineffectual idiots running this party that are more concerned with having holiday parties, happy hours, and getting their goddamn 90-pound heads in front of every camera they can at every moment than they are about putting up candidates that can do the job rather than candidates that look good. They're all about appearances. They're not about substance. It's time for it to go away. It's like a cancer. The real Republicans and conservatives nationwide, if your party's like this in the state, listen to me, cut it out. Stop supporting them. Stop going to their functions. Stop giving them money, because every time you do that, you lose the right to say, hey, how did we lose? Geez, we were really crappy in this county or this state. It's because of people like that support it. That's why they're crappy. Hit them in the wallet. Stop supporting the weak-ass candidates they put up for you because they know you're going to vote. They know most of these people, I'm talking in generalities, most of those people are whores to the Republican Party and won't look past that R. And they'll just vote down the line, just like Democrats vote. It makes you no better than a Democrat. So stop supporting weak-ass parties in your state and the county. Demand they step down and get people who know what they're doing. And the best thing is you have people in central committees that are already in office. That's self-serving. I don't know how they can do that. But hey, or their spouses running get on the central committees. I don't know how any of that works. It sounds very incestuous. But hey, it's Republicans, so we're all just supposed to shut up and mind our business because Republicans are allowed to do that. I don't know. It's getting aggravating. If we can't pull off this next election, I'm going to blame the Republican Party, because I don't know how many Republicans I've heard come out and speak against Donald Trump and supporting Kamala Harris. What are they supporting, actually? What has she done in the past that would want you to would lend to support her? What has she accomplished? When you hear her talk, it's like listening to a 6-year-old that just wandered into the middle of a conversation trying to act like they know what's going on. She's a jackass. And her vice president pick, the dude's a moron. Any man that puts tampons in the boys' bathrooms at school automatically qualifies as an idiot. Really, you're an idiot. A flat out idiot. Unless you just openly say, you know what, I know girls act like boys. Some girls use the boys' bathroom. So we might as well put tampons in there so the girls that act like boys can use them. As stupid as that sounds, I could get behind that better than you saying some guys need to use tampons. I've never met a man in my life that needs a tampon. Never. And I've been around 52 years. Never met one in my life. And I don't think if I live another 52, I'll never meet a man that needs a tampon. I'll meet a girl who acts like a man that may need a tampon, but I'll never meet a man that needs to use a tampon. And it's that simple. I can't make it any simpler for the people out there. Men don't use tampons. Men don't need tampons in the men's room. Women who pretend to be men that use the men's room may need a tampon every now and then, but men won't. So you got those two idiots running. You've got Republicans like Liz Cheney. Jesus, isn't her 15 minutes up? Shouldn't she be like being a door greeter at a casino now? Like, hey, I'm Liz Cheney. I used to be in Congress. Pleased to meet you. There's fish tonight and the slot machines are hot. Have a good evening. I mean, when does she go away? When do we stop paying her any attention? When do we start putting her on the news and writing articles about her? When do we just stop and go, hey, you're an idiot and we're tired of hearing you. Good luck. Because the second we stop feeding into her and the second we stop giving her airtime, she disappears. I promise you, she will disappear. She's an attention whore. And as long as she's getting that attention, she's not going anywhere. So stop giving it to her. See, I could go on and on about this and probably have a stroke right here, live on my podcast. But I don't want to do that. So let's take a second to pay the bills, and I'll be right back.
As we age, we lose a bit of energy. Of course, that's not our fault. Our bodies change as we grow. Healing patches rejuvenate your cells and in the skin play a key role in the aging process. Research has found that as we age, the number and function of these cells decline, which can lead to a decrease in skin elasticity and the development of wrinkles. But what if there was a product that could restore that spunk for more than just our skin? There is, and it does. The product draws out other huge benefits such as more energy, better sleep, reduced stress, and pain management. If you would like more information, please go to miraclehealingtherapy.com. That's miraclehealingtherapy.com. Here's that website address once again, miraclehealingtherapy.com.
Seems like it's good stuff. I've never had to use it. I probably could. I got a bad day, so I probably could use it, but I just choose not to. I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess. So yeah, we need to stop giving these rhinos any airtime. Stop giving them free advertisement. Stop posting what they say. Stop putting it on the news. Well, Liz Cheney said this today, or whatever other rhino of the week is out there running their mouth against the party. Stop it. And if you're voting for these people, stop it. Really stop it. I can't think of a word that describes you better than like a moron. And there's stronger words, but I don't want to say it because it could be kids listening. I don't know. But you're a moron of the first order if you're supporting these people. I mean, really. I know either you're Republican or you're not. That's how we have to start looking at things. Democrats do that. Either you're fully on board or you're not there. They ostracize you. Republicans let you hang out like Liz Cheney. We don't force them to do anything. Let them run their pie holes about what they want, talk about anybody they want. We just let them do it. If you're a Democrat, you don't get to do that. Either you support the party or you are gone. Really, I respect them for that. So yeah, we got an election coming up. There's some other things I want to talk about, but right now that's the most important thing. And then you have Biden calling Trump supporters garbage or trash. I mean, really, this man can't even dress himself anymore. And I'm not trying to be insulting. It's a fact. The man has dementia. I guarantee you 6 or 7 times a day he forgets where he's at. He probably has to wear diapers because he no longer has bowel control. And again, I'm not insulting the man. I'm pointing out things, possibilities. But they still let this guy, or they don't. They prop him up on stage, put a microphone on him, and let him say whatever he wants to say. And people are like, "Oh yeah, yeah, Joe, yeah, yeah." That's elder abuse. No matter how you look at it, that's elder abuse. That man doesn't know where he's at. They probably tell him what to say. Who knows? But he's up there calling Trump supporters garbage and blah, blah, blah. You've got Camilla, the jackal, talking about Trump's a Nazi. He's like Hitler. He's going to destroy this country. He's an enemy of democracy. Trump makes a comment about somebody, calls him stupid or what, he didn't know she was black, and it's the end of the world. The Democrats are firing up people, getting them angry, getting them scared. And we see what happens. They take shots at Trump. They try to kill him. And then they don't say anything about that. As soon as Trump makes a remark back to them, it's, oh, we have to stop this divisive rhetoric. It's causing violence. We can't support violence. He needs to stop. He needs to apologize. That's why I can't take them seriously. I can't. And then I heard the interview with Trump. I think it was with Tucker Carlson. And if I'm wrong, someone please correct me. And they like cut part of the speech, the answered response to a question about him wanting to kill Liz Cheney, or shoot her. I listened to it. At no time did he say we're going to shoot her. He simply said, if she's all for war, put her in a war zone. Let's point a rifle at her and see how she feels. That's what I got out of that answer. I didn't once think he was inciting violence or calling for people to shoot her. Again, you cannot listen to the liberals. You can't trust a word they say. They don't deal in reality. They don't deal in facts. They deal in feelings and their perception of reality. They don't deal in a reality that we live in. They don't. They never have, and they probably, well, I don't want to say they never have. There was a time when Democrats and Republicans both wanted the best for this country, just wanted to do it coming from different directions. Now it's just the Democrats want to turn us into a socialist country, so everybody gets everything free, and we don't have to work another day in our lives, and everybody becomes solely dependent on the government. That's what they want, and that's what they're working towards. And if you don't think that's the truth, you're crazy. You are crazy if you don't think that's how things are going or what they want. It is most definitely what they want. And they're going to get it if we're not careful come this Tuesday. I mean, really, it's that simple. Supreme Court ruled 6-3 to allow Virginia to purge non-citizens from their voter rolls. 6-3. So 6 people think that's legal. 3 people thought it was illegal. I want to know why it wasn't a unanimous vote. If you don't live in this country, you don't have a right to vote here. So why this wasn't unanimous is frightening to me. These are supposed to be educated people, legal scholars that have, studied the law and been in it for most of their life, and they don't understand that it's not okay to be a non-citizen voting in this country. There's 3 of them that don't think that should be allowed, that Virginia should allow non-citizens to vote in their elections. It's ridiculous. I can't go to France and vote in their elections. I can't go to Germany. I can't go to Mexico. There's nowhere in this world I can go and vote if I'm not a citizen. And in some countries, it doesn't matter. If you weren't born there, you don't get to vote. But in America, all you got to do is stumble across that border, and all of a sudden you have all the rights that I have, all the rights that my neighbors have, all the rights that all of us have. All you got to do is trip across that border, and boom, you're a de facto citizen. You can do whatever you want, and we're going to pay you for it. I don't get it. I try to put myself in those 3 people's shoes. Like maybe they, I've read some of it. I read the argument, and I'm trying to see it from their point of view, how it would go. You know what? I agree. Virginia shouldn't be able to purge their rolls. I don't believe that you should have to be a citizen in this country to vote in the presidential election or in any election. I don't care if it's presidential or the dog catcher. I think it should be okay for non-citizens to vote. And I really tried to understand their train of thought. I really tried to get down and understand it. But you know what? My IQ is more than 3, and I just couldn't do it. Nothing made sense to me. Again, I can't go anywhere else in the world and do that. Why should that be okay here? And I know we shouldn't care what the rest of the world does. We're America. But there has to be like a bar. You know what? If a third world nation where people are crapping and dug out holes in their house into the dirt don't let non-citizens vote, why should we? Really, why should we? That's a privilege of being an American. That's a right you have as an American citizen to decide your future and decide who your leaders are going to be through voting. Through voting. I served in the military. My daughter served in the military. My brother served in the military. My stepbrother served in the military. My father was a police officer. My mother worked for the Department of the Army. We worked for the fellow man. We weren't out there trying to be millionaires. We signed a document, swore our lives to this country so that the American citizens could enjoy the rights that we have, not so we could let people just pour into this country and give them the same rights. That's not what I signed up for. That's not what I signed up for to defend. That's not what my family signed up for to defend. We defend the American people, citizens of this country, the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. And that Constitution is there for American citizens. That's it. And you don't get to come across this border illegally, and claim the Constitution as your own. You don't get to do that. There are so many people that have come into this country legally, went through the channels, filled out all the paperwork, dealt with all the bullshit, all the red tape, did it correctly. It's a slap in their face to let these criminals, and that's what they are. Once you cross that border, you're a criminal. To let these criminals come into this country and give them the same rights that everybody else has. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's not fair. Do I think that the citizenship process needs to be reworked? Yes. There are probably some things that we don't need to do anymore, but there are probably some things we need to add to it. I know Austria, if you want to become an Austrian citizen, you have to show a reason why. Like, why would we let you do this country? What can you provide us as a country that we can't provide for ourselves? What skills do you have that we need? Oh, I can flip burgers. Yeah, we don't need that. We're not going to make you a citizen. Sorry. There has to be a reason. You have to bring something to the table. Unfortunately, in America, all you have to bring to the table is the fact that you crossed the border illegally at midnight with 25 other people. Okay, great. Get in line. That should disgust everybody. That should make everybody angry. But nobody cares. Let me rephrase that. Not enough people care. Because as soon as you bring that up, you become a racist. Be a racist. They've used that word so much, it doesn't mean anything anymore. It doesn't. It doesn't mean anything. If someone calls me racist, I go, what does that mean now? I don't know what it means anymore. So you can call me a racist all you want, because it means absolutely nothing to anybody with an eye that has any intelligence at all. It means nothing to anybody. This Tuesday is about a lot more than who's president. It's about where this country is going to end up in 10 and 20 years. Because make no mistake about it, even if Trump wins, he gets in office, things don't change overnight. They don't change in a year or two. He starts the groundwork. He lays the foundation to correct all the shit that's been done for decades. He starts to correct it, but it has to be carried past him into the next president and the next president and the next president, because fixing things takes a lot longer than screwing things up. And that's obvious. You got Lunch Bucket Joe in the office. Only took him 4 years to completely dismantle this country, to put us in a pile of shit that we got to dig out of now. 4 years to put us in that pile, 10 years to dig out of it. It's that simple. So I really hope people understand you can't put all this pressure on Trump. We can't expect him to change the world in a day. It's not going to happen. He's going to lay the foundation. He's going to get things going in the direction we need them to be going. And hopefully in the next 4 years, we can elect somebody else that will carry that on. But don't put all that pressure on that man. Don't. It's not fair to him. He's going to make great strides, like I said, but he's not going to change everything. He can't. It's unfortunate, but he can't. That's just a fact of life. Again, it's quicker to screw things up than it is to fix things. Because when you fix things, you got to take your time. You got to look at everything. You got to have the best outcome you can come out with. When you're ruining things, it doesn't matter what an outcome is. You're just trying to destroy stuff. Doesn't matter. It's easier to destroy things. So yeah, the Supreme Court voted 6-3. And that should make you vomit. That it's okay for Virginia to purge non-citizens from voter rolls. If I didn't read it myself, I'd think that was a joke. I would really think that was a joke, that 3 legal scholars saw a problem with taking non-citizens off their voter rolls. I don't get it. It's really that crazy. And then they had ballot box set on fire in 3 states, end of October, early November. Primarily in Washington, Oregon, and Arizona. I don't understand what's going on in this country anymore. I don't. For the longest time, and I've said it before, and I'm going to keep saying it. When I was growing up, one day voting worked. It really, you voted on the first Tuesday of the month. You had one day to vote. People were off work. Schools were closed. Everybody went and voted, and it worked. You had absentee ballots if you were sick or if you were in the military, you were overseas. That was it. I mean, I'm sure there was more to it than that, but that's it in a nutshell. Done, over with. And it worked for decades. Never had a problem with it. Never. Now you can start voting, 3 months early, and they're not going to start counting the votes till 3 or 4 days after, and you can mail in your votes. You can send it by carrier pigeon or Pony Express now. However you want to get your vote to them, you can get your vote to them. They don't have to see IDs. It's a joke. It's like it's like watching elections in Iran where they've got guys with guns in front of the booth and they're asking who you're voting for. And if you don't give them the right name, it's on the news back, I think, right before the Persian Gulf War started. They would make you leave the line. And that was it. You didn't get to vote. Oh, you're not voting for Saddam Hussein? Yeah, get out. And if you didn't, they beat you or they shot you. It's pretty much like that now. It's ridiculous. It truly is ridiculous. And I've told you, and I'm going to tell you again, I guarantee you right now, someone somewhere is working on a way that you can cast your vote with your smartphone. I promise you, they're trying to figure out a way to do that. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. That'll happen in our lifetime, if you're my age. That'll happen before we pass. They'll be voting on your smartphones. I promise you. And then when that happens, it's pretty much, who's got more 15-year-old kids that can hack the system will win the vote. That's how it's going to turn out. It's going to be some some dystopian future, like Road Warrior or something like that. And between watching kitty cat TikToks and looking at porn on the cell phone, you can cast your vote real quick. It's not going in a good place. Yeah, and I read that too, that the military didn't get their absentee ballots. Okay, so I want to talk to you person to person right now. Just me and you. Nobody else is listening. When are you going to realize that the game is against us? That we don't understand the rules that they're playing by, and that we, the people, don't matter anymore? The government doesn't give a shit about us. And I'm talking about the government as a whole. You got Republicans, Democrats, two sides of the same coin. For the most part, they don't care about us. What they care about is remaining in power. What they care about is the next election cycle. I think I read somewhere that politicians, and I can't remember if it was senators, Congress, or both, spend 35% of their time actually doing their job and the rest doing fundraising and running for re-election. They don't care. And that's probably, that's why they don't want Trump to get elected. Not that he's a god, not that he's, the second coming, but he does care more about the people than he does about the position. So stop thinking the government's going to be the answer to our problems in this country. It's not. It's not. They made the problem so they could have a job. So why would they fix the problem so we don't need them anymore? There will always be problems. Stop looking to the government to fix everything. That's not where the answer is going to come from. The answer is going to come from we, the people. It's really that simple. We, the people, are going to decide when's enough, and we're going to fix things. I'm not calling for violence. I'm not calling for any of that. I'm just saying when we, the people, have fed up, that's when change will happen. It's really that simple. And I don't think enough people are fed up enough yet. It's obvious. You still got people supporting Kamala Harris. That shows me people aren't fed up enough, that people don't think we've hit rock bottom yet. Vote for Kamala Harris. We're going to hit rock bottom. She's already talking about giving people, new home buyers $25,000 in credit or something like that. Where's that money coming from? I'll tell you where it's coming from. From me, from any of you that work and pay taxes. We're going to be doing that. Do I think the housing market's a joke? Yes. You have to make, $150,000 to buy a house now? That's ridiculous. No hardworking, middle-class, blue-collar worker can afford a house now. Something needs to happen, but the government shouldn't be involved in that. Free market should sort that all out. If somebody's smart, What they would start doing is those with the 3D printing thing with the concrete, they could build houses in like 3 hours. Start making communities of those, selling them at $40,000, $50,000 a piece because it's only going to cost you $15,000 to make them. Start selling them at $50,000 a piece. Watch the rest of these home builders have to lower their price to match that. And I'm telling you, the housing market will level out and you won't have to be a multimillionaire to buy a house anymore. It's all going to take one person that goes, I can do that. But the government shouldn't be involved in it. Kamala Harris should not be giving people money to buy a home that they probably can't afford. Nothing wrong with renting. Nothing wrong with buying a condo. You don't have to have a house. I should be in charge. I should run for president. I'd probably stroke out the first month. I just think you people are a bunch of idiots. How are you elected? I mean, you're morons. The first thing I would do if I got elected was hire an accountant. Hey, look, here are the books. How do we balance this out? And I guarantee any accountant could figure out in about a month, hey, this is what we got to do to get this balanced. So we're operating in the black, not in the red anymore. It would really probably be that simple. Like, hey, we need to stop paying these congressmen and senators, hundreds of thousands of dollars and cover their insurance for life and blah, blah, blah. Stop doing that. And that's going to save the taxpayers millions of dollars. And we can start doing it from there. Cut out the Department of Education. Don't need them. Let the states run their own education. Government doesn't need to be involved in that. Cut that out. Saves the taxpayers millions and millions of dollars. IRS, don't need them. Don't need them. Cut it down to like 200 employees to help process tax payments. That's it. Don't need hundreds of thousands of people. They don't need agents with guns. Don't need all that. Cut it down to like a quarter of what it is and let them make do. There's just so many departments we don't need. ATF, get rid of the ATF. Don't need them. Police departments, local can handle all that. We have the FBI, cut them in half until they can prove they work for the people and not for some political arm. Cut them down. Let the states handle their own law enforcement, which was before the FBI came around. States handled their own things. Things are different now. We have computers. They can talk to other states and find out what's going on. Simple things like that. Stop paying businesses to, pay less taxes. Everybody pays the same. It's like the NFL is a charity. Are you fucking kidding me? They are classified as a charity. See, the things you learn when you read are crazy. And I don't so much mind Section 8. I don't mind giving people a hand up. I don't. Everybody falls on hard times. Everybody goes, hey, you know what? I'm struggling. Like me, I'm the working poor. I work. And I still have problems making my bills. And I know finding another job. I'm at the age now where people don't really want to hire me because I can't do like the 20 year there. I work. I know a lot of people who work that are struggling. So I don't mind so much a hand up. I really don't. And if that means somebody's got to live in low, pay less rent than me for a couple of years just to get back on their feet, I can live with that. As long as it doesn't become generational. As long as it doesn't become expected. As long as it doesn't become something I have to fund while I can't even fund my own life. I have no problem with the hand up. My problem is when it becomes a handout. Like I said, it becomes expected. Then I have a problem with it. But everybody falls on hard times. I have no problem helping people who are trying to better themselves or help themselves. No problem at all. Not as long as I see some forward progress, I will continue to help people. Like, hey, I can't find a job, but they're out there pounding the pavement, putting out resumes, talking to people, trying to do what they can to get a job. I will help them until they get a job. It's when I see the person sitting at home playing PlayStation or drinking beers and not worried about finding a job because they know that check's coming in 2 weeks. That's when I have a problem. You know what? You have to make an attempt. You got to meet just halfway. And there's exceptions to that. Like if you're physically handicapped and you can't work, yes. Especially if you're a vet. If you're a vet and you're hurt and you can't work, you should be fine. There should be no question. You should be taken care of. More importantly, they should be taken care of versus a congressman or a senator. Fuck them. Vets is who we need to take care of. And most of our homeless people are vets. Most of the homeless vets have mental issues. We should be taking care of them. That's who we should be focusing on. Not the illegal aliens coming across the country, not making sure that some senator is going to get his $300,000 a year after he doesn't get reelected and gets his. Shouldn't matter. Shouldn't matter. Shouldn't be on our radar. And like I said before, if you're in public service as a politician, your salary should be the mean salary of the state you represent or the county you represent. So if you work in a county and the mean salary is $45,000, guess what you're making? $45,000. And you pay for your own insurance like everybody else does in your county. If you represent a state and the state mean salary is, I don't know, let's think of a state that's probably like West Virginia. I'm sure their mean salary probably isn't over $120,000 a year, probably lower. So let's just say it's $90,000. You work for a state and the mean salary is $90,000 for the people that live there. Guess what you make as a congressman or senator? $90,000 a year. You don't get free insurance. None of that shit's on the cuff. You get exactly what the average person in your state makes, and you pay for the same exact bills as they have to pay as far as health insurance and things like that. If you want to raise, you know what you got to do? Make your state get a raise. Raise that mean salary, because that's what you're going to be making as long as you represent that state, is what the average citizen in that state makes. And I've heard people tell me, well, you won't get qualified people to run for office if you don't pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's what I say. If you run for office based on the salary and hoping you can make more, you shouldn't be running in the first place, because you're a thief and you don't care about the people you're representing. You care about your bank account and your future, not the country's. That's what I think. And if that pisses people off, I'm used to it by now. Send the hate mail. I don't care. Yeah, and no insider training. You don't get any benefits. You get the same benefits of the average person in your state. Make do with it, because we got to make do with it. It's really that simple. And if we can do it, you can do it. And if you can't, don't run. We don't want you anyway. You're just in there for the money. Can you see that vein, like right there? I can feel it. It's like knotted. Let's pay the bills real quick, and I'll be right back.
America faces challenges like never before. Economic uncertainty, social unrest, debt implosion. The foundations of our freedom are under attack. To restore strength, prosperity, and the American way of life, Trump must win.
I plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world.
Introducing the Trump token, blending the deflationary model of Bitcoin with the technological advancement of Solana. It's more than just a cryptocurrency. It's America's future medium of exchange. The Trump token pledges to donate 50% of proceeds, up to $50 million, to Trump's 2024 re-election campaign. Join the movement. Stand with Trump. Secure your future at thetrumptoken.com.
I don't know much about crypto, so I'm not going to speak to it. I don't know it. It seems like it's a good deal. If it's something you invest in and you have a couple minutes, I would love to hear more about it and how it works, because I don't know. If you didn't notice, the Dodgers won the World Series. I'm not a big baseball fan. Now, here are some things I want you to remember before you go to the polls on Tuesday. These are very important. Take notes, record this, do what you have to do, and make sure these are in your head while you're deciding who to vote for. Total household debt of 17.8 trillion. 17.8 trillion with a T is the new high for the U.S. The largest increase in any category was home equity revolving credit, and an 11.8% increase. The most recent term, from which federal data was available, October 2nd, 2024. 17.8 trillion is the total household debt in this country, which is a new high for the U.S. It has never been higher. That's what new high means. Never been higher than 17.8 trillion. The cost of living has increased significantly over the past 4 years, with consumer prices rising 21.4%. On every dollar, it's about 20 cents extra. Yeah, 22 cents extra. Since February 2020. This is well above the average inflation rate for a 4-year period. So they're lying to you when they say this is the best economic time we've ever had. They're lying to you. Food. Food prices have increased due to a number of factors. Labor shortages, the war in the Ukraine, droughts, and other issues. In 2022, food prices increased by 9.9%, the fastest increase in food since 1979. 2022. Who was in office in 2022? Please remind me. I can't remember because I haven't eaten enough. I feel weak and faint, and my brain's not working completely. Shelter. The cost of shelter has increased 5.2%. It's increased 5.2% from June 23 to June 24. So it's increased under whose administration? Yeah. Transportation services have increased. A 9.4 increase from 23 to 24. Who's been in office? Car insurance has increased 26%. 26% is how much your car insurance on average has increased. Home insurance has been increasing with an average payment of $2,230. I don't know what more you need to hear. I don't. This is not anything that people shouldn't know. And this wasn't caused by Trump. This was well into the administration we have currently. They've just screwed everything. Inflation is definitely contributing to higher balances. Even if it's a category like rent, which most people are not putting on credit card, you are still getting squeezed on your rent. You have less money to go around for groceries and gas and other things that maybe you are putting on credit now. So maybe you're not charging your credit, your rent, or your mortgage, but it's increased so much that you now have to charge everything else just to stay afloat. It wasn't like this 5 years ago. It wasn't. Tell me it was. Try to convince me that I was worse off then than I am now. I'll wait. The U.S. military is currently involved in engagements, including interventions in the Yemeni civil war, the Somali civil war, and the Syrian civil war. The U.S. is also involved in 15 covert military operations known as shadow wars to support smaller powers. One of these is the military assistance the U.S. has provided to Ukraine since Russia's invasion since February 2022. They haven't sent troops over there, but we've sent missiles and jets and tanks and ammunition and things like that we should not be involved with at all. We don't need to be there. Since January 2021, when Lunch Bucket Joe came to office, there have been more than 10 million encounters over the southwest land border with Mexico. Under Trump, there were 2.4 million encounters on the same border. But they're going to tell you that border crossings have been down since he took over, or it's Trump's fault that there are more people crossing the border. This all has happened under Joe Biden and Lunch Bucket Joe and Camilla's watch. Nobody else is to blame. Nobody else. Now, thinking about all this had me thinking about other things. The fall of Rome. There are a lot of parallels between the fall of Rome and what we're going through now in this country. Two of the things I want to focus on are what I'm about to talk about that aided or led to the fall of Rome, which I think are not going to help this country. Rome's decline were due to two major factors. There are a bunch of other factors other than this, but there were two. The first one was government corruption. They were just taking bribes and doing things that shouldn't have been done. Caesar started all that. So that and if you look at that here, we have the same thing going on now. We have Joe Biden and his family doing whatever they want to do. You got Kamala Harris, who wasn't elected to run for office, she was appointed by the powers that be. And that's one thing Democrats don't understand, that they had no say in that. They weren't asked. They weren't allowed to vote on it. They didn't hear anybody else run against her. She was appointed. And they're like, but Trump's the bad guy. He's the one we need to watch, not the Democratic Party just appointing people as their overlord. It's the guy who ran and was elected is who we have to worry about. So we have that government corruption. I don't need to get into that because we know what I'm talking about. There's corruption rampant in the government with this administration. And you have Obama. And I'm not saying there's one administration that was not corrupt. They're all corrupt in their own way to a certain point because absolute power corrupts absolutely. You'll never convince me otherwise. And another thing was Rome's economy was based on slave labor. Now, what do I mean by slave labor when it comes to us? What I mean is those 10 million people that have crossed the border illegally are being hired by companies for cheaper wages, and they're taking other people's jobs. Slave labor. Maybe not slaves, but they're taking away work from people who can work. Relying on slave labor caused a larger gap between rich people and the middle class because they couldn't work as much and the richer people were keeping their money. I'm not saying rich people are evil. I'm just saying this is a fact. If I owned a business and I could hire someone for $20 an hour or for $4 an hour versus 20, of course I'm going to go with the $4 an hour person or the person I can pay under the table that won't complain. Of course I'm going to do that. Doesn't make me an evil person. It makes me a businessman. I'm trying to save money. And that gap grew wider and wider and wider until it was unsustainable because you can't just have a nation of rich people who don't work. And you can't just have a nation of middle class people who all they do is work. So I think the parallels are, and again, there's, the loss of a national identity. You had the invasion of other countries. Again, that could be the illegal immigration problem we have. All these led to the fall. It wasn't just one or two things. It was a multitude of things. And next weekend, I'll get into more things. But right now, I think those are the two major ones: government corruption and economic corruption. I believe those are big causes of what's going. Well, we know that's what helped Rome fall. I think those are issues that we're facing in this country now under the current administration. And unless we course correct, they're going to get worse. I just don't understand. Again, I can't be the only person that sees this stuff. I can't. I got to believe there's more people out there that see this, and maybe they're just afraid to say anything. Maybe they don't want to be that guy or that girl. Maybe they just want to, hey, it's not affected me yet, so I'm not going to say anything. Well, that time is come and gone. You're going to have to stand up this Tuesday. You're going to have to make your voice heard. And I know we hear it all the time, and I hate saying it because it's so cliche. And cliches are for people who can't think on their own to come up with something to say, so they ride on something else. But I got to say, it's the most important election of our time. It really is. There's no other way around it. It's between watching this country go down the toilet or start to go in a direction that pulls us out of the toilet and gets us on a path towards where we should be, where everybody is, I don't want to say taking care, where everybody has an opportunity to take care of themselves, given that chance. It's that simple. There's no, like I said, there's no way around it. That's the only ways you can look at it. Right versus wrong. Good versus evil. That's it. It's black or white. There's no other way to describe what's going on now. And you can't. I mean, they had Kamala Harris and some other Democrat go into a bar, act like they're like one of us, drinking beers and talking, and she's cackling like she's got a TBI, and the other jerk is with her going, yeah. They're not like us. They don't think like us. They don't live like us. They don't act like us. They don't do anything like us. And by us, I mean the people. They think they're better than us. They think they're above us. They think they can dictate to us, and we're just peons that will blindly follow whatever they say and believe anything they put on the news. If you think for 1 second Kamala Harris sitting in a bar having a beer, surrounded by Secret Service and cameras and photographers makes her one of us, please don't vote. Because you obviously don't have the education or the intelligence to understand staged and reality. So please don't vote. You're going to cancel out the vote of somebody who took the time to educate themselves. She's not like us. She's never worked a day in her life. Since she put on the knee pads and got with Willie Brown, she's had a silver spoon stuck in her mouth. Don't say it. Because I know a lot of you are thinking. Don't say it. We'll stick with the silver spoon. She's not like us. No matter how she tries to act or pretend or get down with us and talk, she's not like us. Like I said, she doesn't think like us. And now there's a group of black actors, men actors, out there talking for Kamala Harris, saying, she's going to help the black man and the black family. Why is that important? Why isn't it? She just wants to help families. Why can't it just be that? Like, she wants to help families, wants to help dads, wants to make sure everybody's happy. Why do they have to make it racial? And I'll tell you why they have to make it racial. Because the lowest common denominator is stupidity, and that's what they're appealing to. There's more stupid people in this country than there are smart people, and that's a sad fact. So they're appealing to the dummies, the racist dummies, who all they see is black people or white people or Asian people. So that's who they're talking to. And they're trying to get those people in. This election in no way, shape, or form should be based on race or sex. Because I'll tell you right now, I have no problem voting for a woman. I have no problem voting for a black person. I have no problem voting for a black woman. I have no problem voting for an Asian. As long as you have the ability and you have shown it to do the job. She has not shown me she has the ability to do the job. She's had the job right below where she wants to be for 4 years and has accomplished jack shit. She has accomplished nothing of note. That's why I don't support her. Not because she's a woman, not because she's black, because she's a useless idiot who's done nothing with the time she's had in political office and now wants 4 more years because that's all she really needs to do everything she's promised to do. Just 4 more and she'll get it all done. And then at the end of that 4, I just need 4 more. Just give me 4 more years and I'll get this all done. It's the game they play and it's the game people believe because they don't take the time to educate themselves. Seriously. So I don't care that you have black actors coming out for Kamala Harris and endorse. I don't care. I want a candidate that will take care of every family. And I don't mean take care of, but will look out for every family and do what they can to make our lives as, I don't want to say easy because I don't want an easy life. I just want a good life. Try to make everybody's lives as good as they possibly can. It's not government's job to make my life easy. It's not. That's my job. That's on me. They can make things good for me. Make the environment conducive to me having a good life. That's what they can do. But they can't make my life easier. They can't make it better. It's not their job to do. And if you start thinking that, you're part of the problem. They're destroying white people on purpose. Let me put it up. They're destroying white people on purpose. Doesn't matter if you freaking know what you're doing as long as you're a person of color, you've got the job. That's the DEI affirmative action. I think that was struck down. But yeah, they've changed the whole dynamics to race because if you don't, then they can call you a racist, like I said earlier, which shouldn't mean anything at this point because racism is used so much, that word is used so much, and it's lost its power. It really, truly has. So let them call you whatever they want to call it. But I agree. They've boiled this down to race. Well, before I go, again, I took the time and wrote an opinion, and I want to share it with everybody. 2 days, we have voting. So I wrote this with that in mind. Just bear with me. A vote. Republicans, this is it. This is the final stretch. With just 2 days to go until Election Day, every single vote counts. The latest Rutgers polls show Kamala Harris leading Donald Trump by a razor-thin margin. I've looked. It's according to the polls, this is what they have. I don't believe them, but this is what they're saying. The thin margin of 46 to 43%. This election is neck and neck, and I don't believe it, and Republicans must make their voices heard. The stakes are high, and this outcome will determine the direction of this country. Trump's vision for America is at stake, and supporters must rally behind him. Over 77 million Americans have already cast their ballots ahead of Tuesday's election, approaching half the total of 160 million votes cast in 2020. Control of the U.S. Congress is also up for grabs on Tuesday, with Republicans favored to capture a majority in the Senate, while Democrats are seen as having an even chance of flipping Republicans' narrow majority in the House of Representatives. Presidents whose parties have not controlled both chambers have struggled to pass major legislation over the past decades. This election is about more than just the presidency. It's about the values and principles that shape America. Republicans must stand strong for conservative values, limited government, and personal freedoms. Every vote matters, and this election will shape America's future. Don't let others decide for you. Make your voice heard this Tuesday. Go out and support Trump and all the conservative leaders are running across our nation. I can't make it any more clear. I can't be any more blunt. If you don't vote, you have you can't complain. If you're a Republican and you vote for Kamala Harris, you are part of the problem, not as a rhino, but as a problem in this country. It's you that have put us where we're at. It's time for conservatives to be afraid to speak up and say how they feel. You need to let your voice be heard. Bring as many people with you as you can vote on Tuesday. If you live in my area and you can't get to the polls, I will pick you up and drive you there myself. If you have 20 people with you, I will find a way to get all 20 there with you as well. I can't be more serious. This election is important. I have respect for the Democrats who've actually taken the time to educate themselves on the candidates and decided to vote for Trump. They've taken the time, and they're not like the whores on both sides of the party that are voting down party lines. They've decided that he's the best choice for their family. He's the best choice for a prosperous America, and have jumped ship. And I respect that. I truly do. It takes a lot of courage to do that because they're catching crap. Excuse me. So vote. Get out and vote. I shouldn't have to tell you why it's important. It's like when I coach football. I never thought that it was necessary to pump my team up. They should be ready to go. I should not have to tell them how important this is and why we need to do X, Y, and Z. They should know this. And it's the same thing with voting. You should know this is important. You should know why we need to be out there. I should not have to explain this to you. And if you're on the fence and still haven't decided who you're voting for, what are you waiting for? What exactly are you waiting for them to say to you to make you go, oh, I'm going to vote for this person? What is it exactly? What more do you need to know? Those people scare me just as much as people who just vote down party lines. Vote for right, vote for the family, vote for values, vote for prosperity, vote for strength. Vote for Trump. He's shown you he can do this. This is not like his first rodeo. He's done what he says. He's done it before. I have no reason to believe he can't do it again. Vote for the most conservative person you can find. And if you live in Maryland, unfortunately, there's really no conservative senator. Undervoted. Vote for the Libertarian. I think his name is Mike Scott, I believe. Vote for him. Do not vote for Larry Hogan. He will work against you. He will work again. He's told you as much. And if he's telling you these things and you still think he's a Republican, you're an idiot. He's not lying to you. He's telling you who he is. You're just too stupid to hear him. And if you campaign with him and sought his endorsement, you need to know I will work against you. I will openly help the person running against you in the primaries, because obviously you don't have the intelligence to understand that he's not a Republican, or you don't care and you just want money. Either way, you need to go, because you're not for the people, you're for yourself. Like I said, I shouldn't have to pump you all up for this. I shouldn't have to explain this. And some of you, I don't have to. Some of you already know. Everything I said, you know. Everything I said, you agree with. You don't need me to tell you all that. And that is awesome. Some of you out there need to hear this. Get off your butt. Vote for Trump. Vote for the right, like I said, do the right thing. You won't regret it. You're not going to regret it. Did you regret it when he was in office the first time? No. Things were great. Things were going the way they should go. The world was quiet. Now we've got chaos everywhere. Sorry I ran over. I apologize. So yeah, please vote. Vote. If you need help in Frederick County, get a hold of me. I will help you. I will do what I can to get you to your polling place. If I got to call other people, I will make calls. We will get you there. It's that simple. I can't. It's like beating a dead horse. You either you know or you don't. And at this point, no one's going to convince you otherwise. And if you're pro-Hamas or pro-Palestine, if you got kids at the house, cover their ears. If you're pro-Hamas or pro-Palestine, fuck you. You're a terrorist sympathizer, and anything bad that happens in your life, you've deserved tenfold. I have no care for you. I have no empathy for you. And I hope life just takes a dump on you for the rest of it, because you are a terrorist sympathizer. And I am sick of hearing about what Israel has to do and nothing about what Hamas and Hezbollah has to do. Tired of it. They started this. Israel's going to finish it. And I hope they send them all to Allah. The world will be a better place. A better place if those two groups were gone. Seriously. I'm sick of hearing about Palestine and how they have a right to live. There is no Palestine. Show me on a map where it is, and then we can have a discussion. It's not on a map because it doesn't exist. It's someone's fantasy land. Leave Israel alone. Let them do what they got to do to protect their people. And if that means they got to break a few bad eggs, so be it. No one cried when they invaded Israel and killed those 1,300 people. So I don't want to hear about tears about other people now. You're irrelevant, and I support Israel 158,000%. Sick of it. Yep, no stroke today. I thought it was coming. I felt it. Like I said, I had that right in my head. I could feel it knotting up, but it never happened. Thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. I know I ran over. I apologize. I try not to do that because your time is valuable to me, and I don't want to waste any of it. Every Sunday, well, first off, this Tuesday, starting at 8 in the morning, Patriots, sorry, something's in my throat. The Patriots Prayer Network on Rumble will be on continuously with different people jumping in to cover the election. I'll be on, and I'm old, so correct me if I'm wrong. I think I'm on from 6 to 7 that evening, and maybe I'll drop in periodically through the day, but I work. So most likely 6 to 7, maybe a little bit after that, but I'm telling you, definitely 6 to 7. Remember to support all the shows on this network. Alexandra Levine, 360, The Base Mother, Two Guys, One Coup, Damien, was that Jersey Shore, SURE, which I thought is pretty punny. There's just so many shows coming on. Just remember to support them all. And like I say every weekend, we're not here to change your mind. We're not here to force you to believe what we're saying. We're here just to give you information. What you choose to do with it is completely on you. But the one thing you can't say is you were never told. That no one ever told you about this, or I didn't hear about it. We're telling you. What you do with it is on you. So you support all those shows. Give them your time. People have asked me a couple of times, why don't I have a sponsor? Well, just watch some of my shows. I do cuss. I do get upset. So I don't expect that to happen at any time. And I don't care. I'm not doing this for that. I'm doing this to talk with you all and also to get my frustrations out so I don't have a stroke. So this is medicinal as well as fun. And I hope it's fun for you all and educational as well. I hope I'm not all doom and gloom. I hope, I might start with doom and gloom, but I hope I give you some hope and show you that there's light at the end of the tunnel. But all of it's on you. Like I said, I'm just giving you the information. You process it and do with it as you will. It's always fun. I always like being here and talking with everybody. I like the comments. I mean, it's great. I enjoy doing this. So Tuesday, all day on Rumble and Patriots Prayer Network, people will be on. Please drop in, ask questions, kind of check in with us. I'll be on 6 to 7. Yeah, 6 to 7. Jump in, hang out with me for a little bit. We'll talk about some things, go over what's going on with the election during the time I'm on. And then next Sunday, same time, same bat channel. I'll be on at 7. I'm probably going to have a guest then, and we'll talk about whatever they want to talk about. Hopefully, we'll have good news to talk about after the election. Hopefully, by then, we'll have some definite answers on who won and what's going on. But either way, don't lose your faith. We live in the greatest country in the world. It's not perfect. I've never said this country's perfect, but I have said it's the greatest. Nobody's trying to break into China, and nobody's trying to break into Italy. They're all trying to get into here because we have the most freedoms, and we are the greatest country there is on the planet. I wouldn't have served it if we weren't. My daughter wouldn't have. My brother wouldn't have. My family members wouldn't have served for this country if we didn't think that. But we do. So, yep, next Sunday at 7. Please come back here. I'll see you Tuesday at 6. Again, everybody will be on Tuesday, so jump in on any time here on Rumble, and you're going to see somebody on there doing something with the election. We like when people interact with us. It's great. But other than that, I've kept you long enough, and again, I apologize. Just want to say it's awesome that you all spend time with me on Sundays for an hour. It's humbling, and I can't thank you enough. So before I go, I just want to let everybody know that as long as you, vote principle over party, seriously, principle over party, you will never cast a bad vote, and you will always be able to carry your head high when you walk out of that booth. Thank you. Have a good evening, and I will see you all Tuesday at 6.